Welcome back. All right, this is now time for experiment part 2. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually test the density and see. We already know a couple of things. One, oil is the less dense of the 3 that we've already tested. So, because the oil is floating on the top. So out of water, oil, and honey, oil obviously has less density than water or honey. Water is the second dense item, second out of all 3. That's why it's the middle layer. And the honey on the bottom is by far the heaviest and most dense substance we're testing today. We saw that layer itself out when we looked at the experiment last time. So now we are going to test the different densities of a ping pong ball, a metal key, a jelly bean, because it's right after Easter, and I still have those Starburst jelly beans, and a grape. We are going to test where those set the entire time while we're only doing one experiment. So they're going to sit in that cup, and it's most likely going to overflow, and we'll see what happens. I probably should not have put so much oil. And I think the only way to make that any better for myself is to take some out, but it's so pretty and it's so full. And when it overflows, I'll just make a mess, and well, that's kind of just how we kind of roll anyway. All right, let's get down to business. The first thing we're going to test is let's go with the metal key. We learned on our introduction video that metal or man-made types of metals and objects are most of the time, not all the time, but a good amount of the time more dense than organic materials. But I decided what I was going to do is I was also going to give us a ping pong ball, because this is man-made as well. This one right here. And we're going to use this one as last because it's gonna block some stuff, because I have some I'm thinking that I have an idea of where things are going to end up in our tower of liquid. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop this key. So I'm going to take this dense key and I'm going to drop it into my experiment, and I'm going to see where it ended up. Well, obviously it ended up on the bottom. And it had some water, it had some gases stuck on it, some bubbles, because those bubbles are coming up. But as you can see, it is now gone. It is now inside the honey at the bottom. Now let's go ahead and we'll try the grape. So here's the grape. I'm going to drop it in. Oh, where'd it go? Hold on. I'm going to get my nasty spoon back out. Look at where it ended up. I'm going to put it on the other side. Look. Look at it. Look. It only sunk to the water layer. That's it. And it's just sitting there. If I stick it in a little bit into the honey, no, it doesn't want to go. Doesn't sink. Metal sunk to the bottom, and the grape is literally right here. See? So if I do it again and I drop it, it stops right there where the honey is. It won't go any further because it floats on top of the honey, but sinks in the water. So let's try, the cup is getting really full. Let's try sugar, because look, this Starburst is essentially made with all the same stuff that is. Okay, so let's see if it is more dense sugar or less dense sugar than honey. Let's see. It's a little hard to see, but it is the same. It is a similar density. Nope. It's in the honey. Nope, it buried itself in the honey at the bottom. So it's down there with the key. So both sugars, both the honey and the jelly bean, have similar densities. Okay. So now we're going to take by far the biggest thing that I wanted to use in this experiment. And I picked the ping pong ball. And this is the Devil's Advocate ping pong ball. I should have drew a little like devil's head on it, because this is by far the biggest thing that I'm going to drop in this cup. It was also made by human beings, and it's super light. Anybody who's known what a ping pong ball feels like, it's super light. So because it's big and it's man-made, do you think it's going to sink or do you think it's going to float? So let's see. Boop. It's the biggest thing. What happened? Let's see if I push it down. No, it won't go down. Look, it doesn't want to. Even with me putting pressure on it, it doesn't want to. So there you go. You have the ping pong ball that floats on top, because this ping pong ball is by far the least dense out of all of the things that we talked about. So the ping pong ball is less dense than oil. Oil is less dense than water. The grape is less dense than honey. The key and the jelly bean is, well, I can't go any lower than honey, and it's sunk right into the honey. I'm fairly certain that the jelly bean is probably about as dense as the honey. Because it's kind of sitting near the top. You really can't see it very well. You'll see it in your experiment, but it's kind of sitting near the top of the honey. But the key is on the bottom. There is no doubt in the world. The key is all the way down here on the bottom. I can barely make it out. So that is your experiment for this week. And your activity after you've done this experiment is I need you to make a list of all the objects that you tested in here and tell me in order from the most dense to the least dense, or from the least dense to the highest dense, what order your objects came in. So you could either list it from ping pong ball, oil, water, grape, honey, and key. That's how I would list mine. I would list it ping pong ball, oil, water, grape, honey, key. That's how I would do it. If you also wanted to do it, key, honey, grape, water, oil, ping pong ball. That's how you do it. Perfect. And I didn't manage to make a mess. And I don't want you making a mess either on your parents' in your parents' kitchen or wherever else you're planning on doing this. I want you to do it with their permission, and I want you to do it the best way you know how. All right? You should have watched at least 2 other videos on what density is, and you're going to try to layer. You're going to try to layer your cup, and you're also going to drop items in it and figure out what it is. My suggestion is to find 3 or 4 different things in your house that won't be ruined if you drop them in liquid, because a lot of this stuff I'm going to be throwing away the Starburst. The honey is ruined now. The water is a mess, and the oil we can't use again. So just so you're aware, I don't want you ruining things at your house for your families. Okay, so there we go. A couple things that I wanted you guys to know this week for science is, one, I'm going to make the car sick for a second. Apologize. I had to throw away all of your experiments, your hydroponic experiments. So I'm going to be growing basil, cilantro, and rosemary, and a little bit of oregano back there in the corner, underneath a grow light in the corner of my kitchen for you. And also I wanted to plant a little ginger and see if I can get that to work. So I'll be keeping you informed about those experiments as well. And see if your parents will let you set up a little garden of your own. So, let's see. Yep, still good. Give you a couple more angles. You can really see that grape right there. No key though.
Key's gone. I am going to have to find it though, because that is a lock that I actually use. So
Thank you guys very much. Have a beautiful week. Thank you for playing on your science. Talk to you later. Stay safe and stay healthy.